mentioned regarding MCI. About 7 years ago, the present MCI was taken and thrown out because MCI gives permission for colleges, medical colleges. So there is a lot of power in MCI and there's a lot of money flowing through their hands. With the result, the sort of doctors you get over there are the ones interested in power and money and not necessarily in medical ethics at all. So the entire way an MCI is created, then in between there was a desire to shift different people from different areas were brought in, but at those all have left and the new set of people have come in who are part of the old. So even the way a regulatory mechanism has to be set up needs to be looked at.
I'll exercise moderator's right and ask a question. I think somehow from what we talked in the morning, it came across like corruption and all these unethical practices are stray. I don't think the data shows that. I think corruption is more widespread and especially where irrational practices are concerned. I will also speak from my background. I worked in a medical device company in the US. And I can tell you the way research is being done is pushing surgeries, pushing devices. People who don't need pacemakers get pacemakers. People who don't need stents get stents. I came across one study and I was just, day before, I was just putting things together. So even the implantation of stent, whether a stent is needed or medical therapy can take care of a patient, that itself is a hotly debated topic. So I was just trying to look at papers. 99% of papers are studying are stents by themselves good or drug-eluting stents are better, right? They're doing this comparative. They're not even comparing with what is the situation without stents. So what we have today, and then the kind of insurance schemes that we have in India, whether public or private, they're all about hospitalization. So in a conference in Jaipur, one of the people who set up RSBY, he's saying, we have heard from doctors where they've said, Arey, ye bahut gareeb, this is a very poor patient, he's not getting the treatment he can. Let us just hospitalize him. He will get some rest and we can bill this to RSBY. I mean, the very fact that our health systems are oriented, all our payments are oriented towards hospitalization, we are promoting this super specialization, I think that itself we are falling into a trap. We are a poor country, we cannot afford a health system like the US, it will bankrupt us.
Back to this system. US, which has gone this way, is coming back to universalization of health. So
they have done these studies where they've looked at this over-medicalization and they've said, okay, how do we reduce it? How do we come up with care? And you know what you had mentioned about occupational health. We will not put money to do that preventive care, but then we will do a back surgery. So, you're looking at regulation.
I will just add to Sudha. We have studied Arogyasri in Andhra Pradesh in detail. I don't know about Karnataka. But generally the schemes are same. Generally. But then in Andhra Pradesh, only 2% of the population benefited from the tertiary care schemes. And there was 30% reduction on the expenses done on primary care. On the primary care. And in these schemes, we are promoting procedures. We are not treating disease. That fallacy I must bring out. Because in my article in Marathi newspaper I have written that suppose I am working in Lasargao, my small town, the villager there in Digwad, village Digwad, he is an old man, he has a blood pressure and he wants treatment from government. The PhD doctor tells him, sorry, I am for preventive medicine and deliveries and national programs. Anti-hypertension drugs are not with me. So that old man suffers from hypertension for years. Then he starts getting angina and he is referred to rural hospital at Nifar. And Nifar person tells me, oh, I don't have anti-angina drug. So that old person again suffers for 2 more years. Now he gets a heart attack. And wow, he gets the fantastic government assistance. Ambulance comes sirening and then picks that patient. He's gone to corporate hospital. No, never ever in his lifetime he has seen such a hospital and he is treated, he is fixed. Now this model is a model to bankruptcy. because 90% of these cases can be prevented if you start giving anti-hypertensive treatment. And the government, in the myopic view, and in the favor of public-private partnership, and in the, I don't know what extra reasons are, but it is promoting all this tertiary care at the cost of primary care. If there is a fracture, now I after hearing you, I thought, oh my God, I should have been the BPL person. Because middle class person, because my farmer who is not middle class, he gets fracture, treatment is not available in rural. There is so much congestion in civil. He goes into private, cups up 50,000 rupees, still gets the bankrupt. So these are the 90% of the cases. Tertiary cases are a very small fragment of whole disease pattern. So whole pyramid is upside down. It should not be that upside down. It should be bottom up. And that is affecting at the cost of primary and secondary care. Tertiary care is being promoted, and that should be opposed. This model is a bankrupt model. Because it is giving, now they are giving laparoscopic appendicectomy, they are giving, I don't know what you are giving, but they, in Arogyasri they are giving money. But for simple appendicectomy, no money. If you are a surgeon, well, you will go for laparoscopy. For this, no need. 99% of the patients don't need laparoscopic appendicectomy. Even with a small incision, the appendix patient can go home within third day. So we are distorting all the disease patterns and treatment patterns, and we are fitting into super specialist, glossy, mall type, tertiary. That attitude, that direction has to be halted. Otherwise, this is a direction to a very slippery path.
Sir, I am aware of the Arogyasri. I am aware. I just to. Yeah. Yeah. I just want to respond regarding the Arogyasri in Andhra. They have messed it up. I don't support or anything that they went past too broad, trying to get everything under their belt and saying that we do this. I think the Karnataka model is completely different. I think since you have studied the Arogyasri model in Andhra, I invite you to study our model also, and definitely you will see the difference in terms of our focus, because we have focused and the way we are running the scheme is completely different than the Arogyasri model, and we have done an evaluation of our scheme from the World Bank itself, and we have shown that we have reduced the mortality by 68%, which would have caused mortality, and it is very significant. And the out-of-pocket expenditure of the individual by 64%. We are not only just trying to just run a scheme or just deliver something and walk away. Yeah. Yeah. So primary care definitely is. The Directorate of Health, UHM, NRHM, and all the schemes put together, all the central government schemes. So definitely we don't want to redo. Our trust is only for tertiary care, and that is also important. That 20% is also important for us. Definitely they are the mother and the fathers have already gone beyond primary and secondary care. Yes, there is the directorate, there is the government, so everybody looking after thousands of crores being spent for primary care also. But how effectively, efficiently it is done is a question mark, and that system definitely, being a public health person, I know what is in PHC, what is in district hospitals, so that system has to be strengthened, and that will happen. And let's, because that is not good, say we don't need tertiary care also. So that is also one of the pyramid. So let it sustain, and if it is doing good, let it be good. But focus on the
Okay, hi, my name is Margot. I'm a journalist based here in Bangalore. And I had a question for Professor Patel. Could you give us a little bit more of an insight into the work of the committee at National Law School? So I understand better, what is the way forward? Are you suggesting that India should give up on using consumer protection laws in cases of medical malpractice and just replace it with a completely different set of laws? Or are you trying to strengthen those consumer protection laws and change the way evidence needs to be collected when these cases come to the fore? Thank you.
Especially on medical negligence part, it's one of our objectives of consumer chair. I'm training all consumer court judges at the state level and at the national level. And on each issue, see, because each sector is having its own malpractice, negligence, so we cannot cover everything in 1 or 2 days. It's a in-depth discussion on each issue. But now we are giving more concentration on medical negligence part, especially because who are sitting in the consumer forum, it's not called as court, it is called as a consumer forum, state commission and national commission, 3 level. So here one law person is sitting as a president, is a retired district judge, and other 2 persons are social workers sitting with district judge and deciding medical negligence the case. So we are training the lawman as well as non-judicial persons on medical negligence. What are the landmark judgments, how it has to be assessed, and we are calling medical experts also, how we have to analyze what is the test, Bolam test or other test, we have to come to conclusion. So we are training that one at the state level, district forum judges and state commission judges. And national level, I am visiting regularly to National Judicial Academy, Bhopal, wherein all state commission judges, high court judges and the other members are coming there, and we are training there also on medical negligence. We are concentrating more on that because nowadays it is increasing, and poor patients who are unable to prove their case, especially in medical negligence, more cases are failed because of evidences. They have not brought the expert opinion because the opposite party asked whoever is given opinion, so he has to come in the stand in the witness box, he has to depose. So if that is the case, no doctor is coming. So because he is busy in other aspects. So we are taking care of that part. If there is a prima facie case, there is no need for calling the doctors and deposing the evidence. So here it is, consumer forum is not a regular court. It's an irregular court. Yes, we should follow Civil Procedure Code 1908, Evidence Act completely, 100%, yes. But consumer forum is a summary proceedings on prima facie with some evidence, with the circumstantial evidence, they can deliver justice. But at the same time, there should not be injustice to the other party also. So in that way, yes, we are working on that. And another one which recently we have taken that particular job, the drafting of health law. Yes, it is recently we have received, we have not yet started in-depth study, but particular team is there. But they are taking care of, it's a model law for all the states, guidelines. On the basis of that, the state can make their own laws. So in that way, we are drafting that. And there, one chapter independently, they are trying to put it on patients' rights also. So that's, I mean, not yet finalized. We are working on that.